Welcome back to this special tax edition of Money Chat. It's every American's dream to file their taxes and pay zero, or even better yet, get a refund from their taxes. My next guest, Mark Quann, the author of Be Smart, Pay Zero Taxes, says he teaches folks how to avoid paying hefty taxes using the Internal Revenue Service's own playbook. So you've written this book, Be Smart, Pay Zero Taxes. Is that possible? I mean, that's a dream for everybody.
It is 100% possible, and I left California to move to Tennessee to reduce my tax bill. But you can even live in California or a high tax state and actually pay zero taxes. You really have to understand, you have to invest a lot of time in your financial IQ. You really do. I've spent 60,000 hours studying finances. I was a financial advisor. I was an investment advisor for 15 years. I used to train the financial advisors, and I was the financial advisor for CPAs. So I've taken 60,000 hours and condensed it into this book. And I've also been teaching finances for 20 years, about just teaching it. And I've always been good at taking the complicated and then simplifying it. So it's easy to understand. This is my fourth book. If you ever look at any of my books, the reviews are always simple, easy to understand. Simple, easy to understand. So I've tried to take the complicated and simplify it so the average American can understand it, because I was the construction worker, I was the factory worker, I was the security guard, I was the guy working under houses, I was the guy working on doing roofing. I've done it all, and I wrote this book specifically. It's dedicated to ordinary Americans.
Okay, so we're coming up on tax time, April 15th. We're not that far away. What would be your advice for people, including reading your book, to kind of get ready for this and make the most of it and not pay more than what you need to?
Well, there's no magic wand you can do at the last minute to avoid paying taxes. There isn't really much you can do, but you can decide to invest in your financial IQ, the time and money to learn it, and then just learn it, because you could wipe out your tax liability next year, but it's a little bit hard at the end of the year. You can't, people don't get wealthy by doing things last minute. They get wealthy by doing a tremendous amount of studying and going deep into the tax system, right? So, but I'll give you a simple, the simplest strategy in the book is called buy, borrow, die.
I was
Okay.
about to ask you about that.
Yeah. Okay, good. This is the system that the rich people use. So you have to sort of change your thinking and adapt a new system and use the one the billionaires use. If that's the one the billionaires use, you should probably learn it, right? I mean, that kind of makes sense. So if you buy stocks and you never sell them, when do you pay taxes?
Never.
Okay. What if you never sold them and you took a low interest loan from the stocks to buy real estate or invest into your business? Did you pay taxes on the loan?
No.
No. There you go. Anybody can do it. And,
Okay.
and when you die, wait, that's the last step is die, right? We don't want to die. But when you do die, if you have certain assets, you get a stepped up basis, meaning whatever you bought them for, they pass to your family and there's no taxes. So if you buy, you never sell, you borrow, and then you die, you didn't pay taxes. It's literally that simple. It's not a new strategy. It's been around since the 1990s. It's just, I figured out that, wow, anybody can do this. And I spent the last 4 years and I've taught over about 500 people the strategy. Ordinary Americans, it works for the rich, it works for the middle class, it works for the people trying to dig themselves out of poverty to even get to middle class, but it works for anyone. Now, we actually show people how to start with $100 in a brokerage account.
Really?
Yep.
That's pretty incredible. Okay. Well, in the book, you make a bodacious claim that anybody could build multi-million-dollar wealth. Break down how the average person, and you've talked about it a little bit, can do this and where they should start.
Okay, cool. In the book, there's two brokers. They're both in the book. There's even like, I don't want to give them out just today because they got to sort of, there's advantages and disadvantages to both. But you can start with $100 in a brokerage account. Okay. You need low interest rates on margin. M1 and Robinhood, I use them both. M1 is much easier to use. I even interviewed the founder on our YouTube channel. So if you want to check out that's a pretty cool interview with the founder. You can buy, but then there's the borrow button. Ooh, opens the door to buy, borrow, die. Now, let's say, for example, let me give you a simple example. I like this example because people like are getting their iPhones, right? When you buy your iPhone, most people, they have to go work hard, pay taxes, and fight inflation before they buy their iPhone. So maybe $1,300, it might cost them $1,700, right? Well, that $1,700 is now gone. Okay. Now, what if a person bought Apple stock? They said, all right, I want to buy my iPhone, but I'm going to save a bunch of money first. So they buy Apple stock and they buy Apple stock and they have $3,500 in their account. And they go, I want to buy my iPhone now. I want to reward myself with the new iPhone. Great. Take a margin loan, just press the borrow button, take a loan for $1,300, go buy the iPhone. Oh, what happened there? You just created money that didn't exist. Did you have to work for the money?
No.
Did you have to pay taxes on the money? No. Right? It's tax-free.
Okay.
And you fought inflation with inflation. Inflation is the creation of money. People don't realize that money is not the paper. Money are just zero ones in a computer. When you press a button, you create money.
What if I get a margin call?
Well, that's the thing is there's a simple strategy. Let's assume that scenario. Somebody has 3,500. You never stop buying. You have one simple plan. Keep buying forever, never sell, and if you need money, use a margin loan. Simple. Because you can't get a margin call if you just keep buying. What if you're doing $100 a week into there? You're not going to get a margin call because you're just buying more. Every time you buy more, you get further and further away from that margin call. So you have to be smart about that. It's all strategic. And that's why people have to at least put 100 to 200 hours in 2025 to understand the strategy. Otherwise, things can go wrong. There's no risk free. Risk free doesn't exist in this world. Okay. If you told me a savings account is risk free that earns 0.01%, that's guaranteed to lose. If you told me your 401k is risk free, well, after inflation, you're never going to retire. You're probably going to work until you die. I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer here, but I can run the numbers on it. If you have $1 million in a 401k, 20 years down the road, you're guaranteed to live in poverty. So there's no risk reward. It's just risk versus reward. What's the rewards and what the risk? You need to understand that. That's how people get wealthy, is they understand that because they have the experience in it, right? I've been studying finance for 60 years, so 60,000 hours, right? So you have to dedicate the time and learn it yourself.
Thank you so much. I've learned a lot today, and I really appreciate you taking time.
Uh, awesome. Thanks so much for having me.